Hello everyone, my name is EVOO and welcome to Cooking with the Koyas. Today folks, we are going to make Pici Pasta. That's right, P-I-C-I, Pici Pasta. From scratch, handmade, hand-rolled. It's an amazing pasta dish. Originates in, of course, Italy, in Tuscany. And it's very easy to make, folks. And it's a lot of fun. You could have fun making this pasta, whether you make it by yourself or have your own pasta cooking class and get others to help you. It's a lot of fun. Let's get started right now. Okay, so basic ingredients. What you're gonna need is 00 flour and Semola flour. Semola flour, as you can see, is a little more yellow than 00 white. And all it is a fine grain of semolina flour. That's all semola is. And the recipe is easy. It's 100 grams of flour mixed between the two. So 50 semola, 50 00 flour. So for every 100 grams, it's good for one person. So if you're cooking for 4 people, you're going to want to use 400 grams of flour, which is of course half and half. 200 semola, 200 00. So the basic recipe is for 100 grams for one person, 50 00, 50 grams of 00, 50 grams of semola, 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, and a half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, so from that you can build any recipe you want. And in fact today I'm going to make 500 grams of pasta. So I have 250 semola, 250 00 flour, and try to get a 00 flour with a higher protein level, 12.5%, 13% if you can. And then of course I said a half a teaspoon for every 100 grams, so I had 500 grams, so 2.5 teaspoons of salt. And then of course my olive oil. Oh, and my water. So the water, because I have 500 grams of flour, you use half of the amount in water. So I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, because that's kind of important. So I have 500 grams of flour, and I'm going to add 250 grams of water. So going back to the 100 recipe, of course it would be 50 grams. Okay, and to that we're going to add our olive oil. As we said, 1 teaspoon per 100 grams of flour, so I have 5 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil here. Okay, and then, quite simply, all we do, folks, is mix this together. So we're going to mix this together in order to form our dough. So it'll start to come together little by little. Mix it together, and then eventually I like to take it out of the bowl and start to knead it. But I like to get a shaggy dough kind of started first. And then I'll continue on my countertop. Make some room here. Let's put it down. There we go. All right. Now what we want to do is kind of just get it to all come together. Okay, and just knead it and pick up all that flour. It has to all be incorporated into this dough. So it's kind of sticky right now because we haven't picked up all our flour yet. And just kind of keep working it. And you want to pick up all that flour. It will eventually, folks. Just keep working it, because as it absorbs, it's going to pick up more flour as it absorbs the water. So I now have most of it picked up, and I'm going to continue to knead it. But right now, as you can see, I have a very, let's call it a rough dough, a very, very rough dough. And I'm going to want to knead this for about up to 10 minutes. And what will happen is, as you knead it, it's going to get softer and softer. And all this little bit of a rough dough, like I say, will become a lot more smoother. So let's knead this for 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, and as you can see, we've now picked up all of that flour. And by kneading, all I'm doing is with the palms of my hands, just pushing down and rolling forward. It's that easy. Okay, and when you do that, what we're doing, folks, is we're making sure that all the ingredients are incorporated together. We're developing a nice smooth dough, and we're getting that gluten network working. So very, very important function is the kneading. Now we've got a much softer, more pliable dough, and it needs to rest for a little bit. And it needs to rest wrapped up with some plastic. And what's going to happen now by resting, of course, it's going to develop properly. It's going to get nice and soft. It'll be very nice and soft and pliable, like a nice soft putty. So this now has to rest at a minimum, folks, 20 minutes, anywhere 20 minutes up to an hour, okay? And as it sets and rests, it's going to develop very, very nicely. Okay, so we'll come right back at you in a little bit. Okay, now it's time to have some fun. Okay, our dough has been patiently resting. Oh, I could tell it's so much softer right now. It's beautiful. So I'm going to try to put it in a rectangular shape somewhat, but it doesn't matter. Round is fine too. Okay, and then I've got some semola here, and I'm going to just cover the bottom of the sheet pan with some semola, which is made from durum wheat semolina. Okay, the good stuff. All right, so now we're just going to cut off a disc. And basically, what you want, you're looking for, okay, let me start with another piece to make it a little bit easier. So you want a piece, you know, about the thickness of a French fry, I guess. That would be a good way to put it. And then you want it about the size of a half a French fry. So basically, you want a piece of dough that is about 8 grams, 7, 8, 9 grams in weight. And then you take it and you roll it by pushing down and then moving your hands out off to the sides. Okay, so you're basically pushing down and sliding, pushing down and sliding your hands out that way. You want this to be about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch thick. And you can see if you've got a bigger piece, if you've got a 9 gram piece, it's going to be a little longer. You got a 7 gram piece, it's going to be a little shorter, and I pushed down too hard and I broke it. But that's okay. There's one noodle there. It's about 1/8 inch thick. Let's start another one. Maybe make it a little bit thinner. So there you go. You can see there. I know that's around 8 grams, just based on being about half the size of a French fry. And again, let's push down, maybe not so hard this time. Take my time. There we go. There we go. You want it, you know, about a foot or longer, a foot or so longer. And there's going to be some inconsistencies in your pasta, right? There's going to be some inconsistencies in the length and the thickness. And that's okay, because that just shows, folks, that they are, in fact, homemade, handmade. Here's another piece. Same process. Now this is where you can have some fun. If you have some friends over, you can all get together and everyone starts making pici. And that's a lot of fun. And get it as thin as you can, 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 inch. Okay, there we go. That's nice. And that's a nice length too. Okay? And we'll just put it down in our tray. And then I got a piece left. Now if that piece left is a little less, it doesn't matter. It'll just be a little smaller. It won't be as long. And that's okay, like I say, because these are handmade and there's going to be variation, and that's perfectly fine. That adds, folks, to the character of this dish. And yes, folks, we are keeping the Italian traditions going. Oh, and I pushed down hard again. I'm trying to go too fast for the camera. Okay, so I'm just going to roll that out again. Yeah, that's a decent length right there. And then this little guy, we're not letting that go to waste, folks. And you want to be rolling on a clean, dry surface. That way your dough will grip. You can do this right on your countertop. Okay. And if you find that it's not gripping, just get a damp cloth and give it a wipe, dry it, and you're back in action. In fact, that's feeling a little slippery right now. I might have to do that. But in the meanwhile, let's keep rolling this out. It's like making thick spaghetti, folks. Oh, and I did. I did it again. No problem. Alright, so let's get this noodle going. It's about 1/8 of an inch. And finish that little guy there. Let's make him a little longer. Okay, so I'm going to continue to work my way and get this entire dough turned into Pici Pasta. And I have another sheet tray here that I'm going to use. And as I do it, I can put a little bit of semola on top so they don't stick. And away we go. Okay, so I'm going to keep going at it here, and we'll see you when we're all done. And there we have it, folks. There's our Pici ready for cooking right there. Isn't that nice? Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. And I guess, again, all different lengths, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, I've got a pot of boiling water that I've salted already. Let's put these in, and these are going to cook quicker than your normal pasta. These only take like 5 minutes. Okay, let's make our way over to the stove. Okay, we got a vigorous boil going here. I've salted the water, so it's good to go. And then we're just going to add our Pici Pasta. Add it to the salted water. And you can see I've coated it in semola, as you can see there, so that it doesn't stick, right? That's all. And we have the others here. So, look at that. Isn't that nice? Beautiful, folks. There's something about tradition that you just can't beat these days. No special tools. Just simple, basic cooking. Okay, so we need to bring this back up to a boil, and it has to boil for 5 minutes. So the timer doesn't start until we have a boil going again. And I've got a little sauce going right over here. I'm just going to simmer that and heat that up for our Pici. And we're going to have ourselves a nice meal tonight. Okay, let's bring that up to a boil. Okay, we have got a boil going, as you can see. So the lid is going to have to stay off, otherwise it's going to overboil. And we're going to cook this for 5 minutes. And there we go, folks. It's been 5 minutes. Our Pici is now done. Let's shut that down. Okay, let me go drain this, strain it, and we're going to add it to our sauce. And there we go. We're nice and drained. I got my sauce going there. Look at that beautiful pasta, folks. Okay, I'm going to get that added. And what we want to do now is toss it all together, get it all coated with that sauce. Now for this part, folks, you could use any sauce that you like. You want to use a bolognese sauce, you want to use just your classic tomato sauce, you want to just do an aglio olio, whatever you want to do. This pasta is very accommodating and it will be excellent with any sauce that you want, but this one here is already looking spectacular. So I just want to toss to get it coated. Oh my goodness, folks, the taste test, I am looking forward to that big time. Okay, and there we have it. So let me get this plated. Taste test coming up. Oh yes, my absolute favorite part. Take a look at this. Oh my goodness, folks. Okay, that's enough for a little sample right there, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sprinkle a little Parmigiano Reggiano on that, and I'm going to get ready for that taste test. Oh yes, now you're talking, folks. I would put a little bit of chili pepper in here too, but I had a hot pepper in my sauce, so that's going to be, look at there, folks. That's a nice little sample right there, isn't it? Oh yes, okay, let me grab a fork. There we go. Pici Pasta, Italian tradition. Oh my goodness. It's just al dente. So if you like it cooked more, then you got to cook it longer. Look at that noodle. I love it. Oh my goodness, folks. Between that and the sauce, outstanding. Simple Italian traditions, folks. Pici pasta from the Tuscany region. Very easy to make. No equipment required. Just your hands. And you know what? I forgot one ingredient. TLC. When you make it with a little bit of love, it always tastes better. But what a fun pasta dish to make. Hopefully you'll make it for yourself, for your family, for your friends. Just enjoy it wherever you can. Wherever you're tuning in from, folks, I want to thank you for spending time in the kitchen with me today, which is a great place to be. And until next time, buon appetito. Oh yeah, I'm going to really enjoy this pasta dish tonight. Outstanding.